With the recent collapse of FTX, you might be wondering, is Robinhood next? Well, in this video, we're going to dig into that. We're also going to look at the difference between stocks and crypto and some alternatives to make sure that you're set up for any type of risk that might come your way. You ready to get started? Don't be dumb. Tap the thumb. Let's get right to the video. Now, of course, there's been a wave of apologies from a lot of different creators who promoted FTX. One person that doesn't have to apologize, this guy right here. That said, I have promoted Webull, I have promoted Robinhood, so the question would become, are they next? So how did FTX actually fail? Let's start right there. Now, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, as some people like to call him, I like to call him Sam Bankrupt-Fried. The name is fitting in this case. Let's say you have $300 and you decided to deposit those $300 into FTX. You did it. And for that, you decided to buy some crypto with it, and they said, okay, you have $300 worth of crypto. Now, what they did is they turned around, maybe they left $100 in there, but they used this $200 for something else, for whatever they wanted to. I don't know. We'll have to let the courts decide where that went. But anyway, they're using that $200 somewhere else, way off of camera, over here somewhere. Meanwhile, you're thinking you have $300 because that's what your balance says, and one day you decide, I'm going to withdraw all of my money. You say, hey, I would like my $300 back, and they're like, oh, we only have 100. We don't have enough assets to meet your demand of withdrawal, which you're entitled to that money. We don't have that money. Sorry, go screw yourself. Well, that's a big problem. And just think about this on a much, much grander scale. You had thousands potentially of people trying to withdraw, and as the word got out, more people demanded more money, and all of a sudden their money, which was amplified much more than $300, becomes a huge, huge problem. And then there's something called the contagion effect, if I'm saying that right. Contagion, it doesn't matter. What that really means is that people then say, well, what about things like Binance? What about things like BlockFi? What about things like Gemini and Coinbase and Robinhood and Webull and all these other things? Are they victim of the same thing? So I'm going to withdraw my money. In fact, BlockFi is going under as a result of that. So what about Robinhood and Webull? Well, let me direct you to this article first. It is from earlier this month, but I think it's important to point out that they mentioned that we have no direct exposure to FTX collapse, says the Robinhood chief. In fact, if you come down here, Vlad himself says, despite SBF having an equity stake in Robinhood, which means he owns Robinhood stock, we have no direct exposure to Alameda, which is the research firm behind FTX, which is now also screwed, FTX itself, or any of its entities, and we've confirmed with our partners that they don't have material exposure either. Now, of course, one could always just say that, but what is actually the truth? What could potentially protect you in the case of either one of these apps? And also, what happens if things go south in crypto? But that brings us to the difference between stocks and crypto. Where are we going to lose our butts the most if Robinhood goes under? Well, we would lose our butts the most in crypto. Why? Because it's not regulated. And of course, that's the whole premise, in a sense, behind crypto. A lot of people like the idea that it is not regulated, which means that you don't have the government with their hands on it. You don't have banks with their hands on it. This is by the people, for the people, on the blockchain, and totally anonymous and totally unregulated. But the problem with that becomes when things like SBF and FTX happen. When all of a sudden all your money evaporates. When all of a sudden the scammers come in and steal all your money. That's why I don't like WhatsApp, by the way, and I don't use WhatsApp because a lot of people like to scam people by asking you to send them your Bitcoin. All of a sudden they run away from it, and there's no way to recover it because it's unregulated, untraceable, and it is what it is. So that's one thing we got to keep in mind. Now, the difference with stocks is it is regulated. The stock market has regulations by the government, and it is protected by the SIPC. What is that? Stands for the Securities Investor Protection Corporation. SIPC is a nonprofit government-regulated service, which means that it protects you and I as investors if a brokerage goes under. If a brokerage goes bankrupt and they're like, oh crap, things are happening. Basically the same thing like FTX, if that would happen, we would be protected by the SIPC if that brokerage is a member of the SIPC. So let's hop right here to this website. What does the SIPC protect? It protects against the loss of cash and securities, such as stocks and bonds, held by a customer at a financially troubled SIP member brokerage firm. The limit of SIP protection is $500,000, which includes a $250,000 limit for cash. What that means is that if you're one of those people that have a over $500,000 balance in Robinhood, Webull, or whatever brokerage app you're using, that means that you could get protection up to $500,000. But more than that, you might be out of luck. So just keep that in mind if you're sitting here with $1 million. By the way, let's go have a beer sometime. On you. $500,000. Let's say you have less than that, you would be protected by the SIPC. The $250,000 in cash means, let's say you have stocks, right? But then in your cash buying power, your cash that you have transferred into your app that you have not yet used for stocks and bonds and trading, that would also be protected as long as it doesn't exceed $250,000. The next question though is, are apps such as Robinhood, such as Webull, the two that I promote primarily on this channel, are they a member of the SIPC? Or if they're not, then this all doesn't make any sense and it's completely BS and it doesn't matter because you're not protected and you're totally screwed. Well, here's a way to check. I'm going to include this link in the description below so that if you have another app that you use, you can check to ensure it's SIPC protected as an SIP member for their brokerage firm. But I do want to warn you, this is only for stocks, bonds, and things that are government regulated. With crypto, there's another alternative that we can use that I'll discuss in just a moment. So right here's the list of members. The best way to do this is just kind of click on whatever letter that the company starts with. In this case, we're going to click on R. We'll start with Robinhood. And then you can either search or you just scroll down to where it says, hopefully Robinhood. And if you cannot find it, then we have a problem. Not only is Robinhood Financial here, but Robinhood Securities is listed as a member of the SIPC. You can also look on their website. They typically will put that because that is a good thing to look for and a good thing for a brokerage to promote that they are an SIPC member because that helps get their investors a little bit more comfortable with their app. So Robinhood gets a green check mark. They are protected by SIPC. Let's come back up here and look at the Webull app. All you have to do is come on down here and let's see. Webull Financial, New York, New York, they are also SIPC members. But because crypto is unregulated, it doesn't matter, even in an app that is a member of the SIPC, if the crypto portion of Robinhood falters, we're screwed. And that's the truth. And I hope you appreciate the truth because that's what matters. Robinhood Financial and Robinhood Securities, as we saw earlier on the website, is protected by the SIPC. But if you look very closely at your statements and you look into the facts and into the details, there's another LLC under the Robinhood umbrella, and that is Robinhood Crypto LLC. Not protected by SIPC or any type of government regulation or any type of backing because it is a crypto company. And you can't mix those companies together. Same thing with Webull. You have Webull Financial LLC, member SIPC, but then you also have Apex Crypto, which is the supporter of crypto on Webull. So what do we do? Well, there's a couple things you can do. I, right now, do have crypto in both Robinhood and Webull. Robinhood now has wallets, which is kind of cool, so you can buy and send and transact in crypto. Webull is coming. They're actually coming with a wallet. They just have not fully rolled it out yet. But there's a couple questions you need to ask yourself. Are you worried about this? And if you are worried about this, I'm going to present an alternative for crypto users. Or are you okay with it? You're going to take the risk and it's money. You know, if you're okay setting this on fire and flushing this down the toilet and it doesn't pain you at all, then whatever. Take the risk and hope that FTX doesn't happen to any of these bigger names such as Robinhood or Webull or even Coinbase or something like that. That is up to you. But again, let's say you're scared. You're hearing all this and you're like, you know what, I'm out. I don't like this idea, but I don't want to get rid of my crypto. How do I do this? Well, I use an offline wallet as well for my bigger crypto holdings, because that's important. An offline wallet, a cold wallet, in other words, is something that you can use that you own and protect the crypto. It's your crypto, your money, and that's how you can almost, in a sense, regulate yourself. There's always risk of the value of the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, Shiba Inu, or whatever crypto you have going down in value, which then it is what it is. But at least when it comes down to things like the FTX collapse happening, it doesn't matter because you're not tied up with a brokerage. You have it on your own wallet. Now I use the Ledger Nano X, which I'll include a link in the description below to an Amazon affiliate link. Now they did not sponsor this, nor do they know that I'm actually talking about them. It's just something that I find useful, so I figured I'd share it with you all as an Amazon affiliate. So you can check out that particular link. This is what it looks like. It is a crypto hardware wallet. Hardware meaning that you can literally hold it in your hands and use it anytime you want. It uses your phone's Bluetooth to connect and digitally transact your crypto, which I find to be super, super useful. And it does help because then it makes it a little bit more sophisticated versus a USB stick or something like that. But that's important to protect yourself and always do your own research to make sure you're doing the best possible strategies for your money. because you're worth it. Check out this video next. We'll see you on the next video.